Converting footage in Kyno is extremely easy, but did you know that it's also significantly faster than Media Encoder? Hey, it's Piotr and this is the second video in Kyno series. Previously we talked about what Kyno is used for and about all powerful asset management features it has to offer. In short, Kyno is all-in-one media management app, and I would say that it's an app for anything you may want to do with your footage before you actually edit it on the timeline. In the third video, which I will upload in a few weeks, we'll talk about subclips, markers, and about integrations between Kyno and other applications like Premiere Pro, Final Cut, Frame.io, etc. This time, once again, I have negotiated an exclusive discount for my viewers, so by the end of the video, I will tell you how to get 20% off any license. Transcoding in Kyno is super simple. I can select any number of clips, right-click and choose an editing codec, distribution codec, or audio format to which I want to convert the files. As you can see, there are various professional editing codecs like DNX, Cineform, and on Mac you can obviously transcode to ProRes as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they support ProRes on Windows as well one day. I mean, if Adobe could do it, as I talk about in this video, they probably can do it as well. So fingers crossed. After all, this is my favorite capture and editing codec, so I would be really happy about it. Later in the video, I will compare the transcoding speed of Kyno to Adobe Media Encoder. Just let me tell you, the results will be surprising. But before we get there, let's check what settings can we specify in converting dialog box. By default, Kyno will transcode the files to the same directory as the source files, but obviously we can specify any other location. If we have a drill down selection active and we want to mirror the source folder structure to the destination, we just need to tick the checkbox Keep folder structure from source in the transcoding dialog box. Drill down basically means that we can select any high-level folder and Kyno will show you what every subfolder in that folder contains. I already talked about it in the first video where I also presented the powerful renaming features of Kyno, which we can also apply when transcoding. In the file format settings, the most interesting feature is dealing with timecode. We can use the timecode from the source, which is the default behavior, but we can also start at 0 or specify timecode manually. Super useful in some cases if we are dealing with faulty timecode, etc. Obviously, we can also choose the container we want to convert footage to. In encoding video settings, we can change a codec, frame rate, resolution, etc. By the way, if for the frame rate setting we choose conform, it will interpret the footage to a given value. So we don't lose or duplicate any frames in this case, but as a result we get the file that has been sped up or slowed down. We can also rotate a clip, for example 180 degrees. I often do it for over the head shots. Next, we have a filter tab where we can sharpen or blur the video, add artificial noise to it, or even apply adjustable fade in and out. The last option can be especially helpful if we're combining multiple clips into a quick social media video or like. And combining multiple files in Kyno is very simple. Keep in mind that the order with which files will be combined matches our active sorting criteria in the view. When we have a selection we want, we just right-click and under Combine option, we choose the codec and other settings. Super simple. On top of the filters, we have an option to denoise the footage when transcoding. This is a big deal, but it's different in basic and premium version. In a basic version, we don't get any control over how much denoising is being applied. But in the premium version, we have luma and chroma noise separated, and we can adjust the parameters to achieve the best results possible. It's really designed to get rid of the noise from the footage before we may apply any effects to it. Nowadays, very often we need to deal with log footage, which is usually a little bit noisier than a Rec 709 equivalent. So denoising this footage beforehand can be worth an effort, especially if we are planning to apply any keying or secondary color correction down the road. We can apply any LUT we want during the converting process. Actually, you can apply two LUTs at the same time. That is camera LUT, which is usually used to convert the footage from one color space to the other, and creative LUT, which usually just shifts the colors and tonality of the image. Personally, I don't use this option much, but for example, I could apply utility LUT for my camera when creating proxy files. This way I could edit on Rec 709 footage before I switch to original media and do any color work. We can burn in the timecode of the file to the image. It's also a great idea to do it for proxy files, because this way we can always tell when we're looking at proxy or original media. It may also be very useful for collaborating when someone needs to give you notes to a specific moment in time of the clip. Would be good to be able to add a custom overlay or a name of the file as an overlay to a clip. This way we could add logo as a watermark or even add the word proxy itself when transcoding media into proxy files. Hopefully you will see it in Kyno in the future. As I've said in the first Kyno video, we can preview audio channels within a player in Kyno. But what's even better, once we know which audio channels we want to use, we can apply audio remapping when converting. To do it, we simply choose custom mapping, channel layout we want to have, and we remap the channels. A very cool feature, unfortunately only available in the premium version. We can also change the sample rate, keep the first track only, or split audio to mono tracks. We can transcode only a trimmed version of a clip, for example, with an in and out point or based on a specific timecode. If we click on this gear icon, we can save transcoding presets, which will automate future jobs for us. It also means that we can easily share these presets with others by exporting and importing, which can be done in preferences. Presets remember all of the settings we already discussed, like denoising, audio channels remapping, LUTs, overlays, frame rate interpretation, etc. In Kyno Premium, we can send video assets via FTP directly from Kyno. To do it, we need to go to Settings, Transfer, and add a new endpoint. We can also connect with Frame.io here, but this is something we'll cover the next time. Once you have an active connection, it will be available in the context menu under Send To. We can send the original files with our FTP connection or transcode them only to that location. This is super cool for sharing proxies because you don't even have to write them on your disk. By the way, all of our converting items are visible in the jobs section over here with a nice progress bar. We already talked about metadata in Kyno in the previous video. But what if we have original and transcoded files and we want to make sure they share the same description, markers, etc. To do it, we can easily copy and paste metadata between assets. By the way, we'll talk about using markers in the third video in that series. Now it's time to compare the speed of transcoding in Kyno and Adobe Media Encoder. You probably know that many of the things we talked about can be accomplished in Adobe Media Encoder as well. And while I think that converting with Kyno is just simpler and more intuitive, the speed is the single most important factor we need to compare. I've prepared the same clip for both Media Encoder and Kyno and transcoded it both into delivery codec H.264 and intermediary codec Cineform 422 10-bit. All of the settings were the same and I exported each file twice to make sure nothing else interfered with the results. On the screen you can see the specification of the clip I used for the test, and I also used the most recent version of both programs. When exporting to Cineform, Kyno was on average 1.4 times faster, but the real difference was for H.264 transcoding. When I downscaled the file to 1080p, Kyno was on average 2.6 times faster, and for Ultra HD H.264, Kyno was on average 2.7 times faster. Just imagine the difference it makes for your dailies and for transcoding into proxies. I wish I could run the same test on Edit Ready, which many Mac owners use for converting. Unfortunately, I don't have a Mac to test it on. My guess is that transcoding speed of Kyno and Edit Ready will be very similar. If you perform such a test, let us know about the results in the comment section. Now you need to learn about using markers, subclips, and integrations in Kyno. I will display the link here in a moment, but first let's address the 20% off coupon code as I promised at the beginning. First of all, you can download a free 30-day trial before you decide if that's a right tool for you. Just go to cuttothepoint.com/Kyno and try it for yourself. Now, if you think it is the right tool for you, use the coupon code CTPT20, like Cut to the Point 20, for 20% off any license. The coupon code is only valid for 2 weeks since the date of publishing of this video. If you missed the deadline, I will put the link to my mailing list in the description, and if you sign up using that link, I will let you know when they offer a discount again. By the way, this is a one-time payment like in the old days, not another subscription, and you can have it on 3 different computers, which is is awesome as well. For a full disclosure, if you use the link in the description, I will get a small commission at no additional cost to you, which basically helps me to create more content for you guys. Now click here to watch the third part or the first part of the Kyno series. It was Peter. Until the next time, shoot and edit like there is no tomorrow.